Vintage computing. I got a dandy Tandy here. It's a Tandy 1110 hard disk version, HD version. This laptop was originally only available in a floppy drive version, but this one here comes with a 20 megabyte hard disk. Well, I gotta get this thing working. It doesn't work. Well, I know why it doesn't work, because I fucked it up. But this is a common problem. Maybe if you got one of these computers and it doesn't turn on, what the problem likely is just simply the fuse. I blew the fuse on. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. I blew the fuse on it. Well, I got to replace it. It's going to be job number one. And at that time, the real-time clock battery doesn't work. So let's replace that with a little adapter here for a CR2032 lithium replaceable battery. And then after that, well, you got to get it working. I know the hard disk works, but the floppy drives of these computers are usually shot because the rubber belt is broken, hardens up over time. Anyway, even if it did work, like, well, who the hell uses floppies anyway? They're hard to get a hold of even. So I am going to replace that floppy drive with here's a Floppy Emulator. It takes these SD cards, and with this little button, you can select, I don't know, like a billion different little floppies on here, and yeah, it's a way to get something onto this computer. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy. Let's get at it. A really inexpensive laptop at the time. It was $999, can believe it, 1990. Now, ordinarily, cheap dates should be easy to get inside. However, this has a couple tricks that you gotta be aware of. These hinge covers, they pop off. You can just get your fingernail in there and pop them off, and well, they hide some screws. Another one under that side, and there's 3 on the bottom, one here and here. There's one back there, another one here under the port cover right there. Oh, look at this, is a model with the modem. And then under the battery cover here, there's yet one more screw right there. There's no battery. I got rid of the battery a long time ago. It's long dead. Anyways, I'll bring you back when we get those screws out. I'll put those screws into safekeeping and keep mind of who goes where. For the hinge, they're gold screws, and one's a plastic screw for that side, and you got a metal screw for that side. The screws on the bottom and this little screw here are all plastic screws, and they're fortunately all the same, so you can't mix them up. And there are 2 silver metal screws, and they're going to go into the back to hold the back of the case on. Now, let's take it apart. And this here is always my most worrisome is this brittle plastic and getting these clips undone. I find it useful just to use, I don't know, fingernails or something. Oh, there we go. Oh, looks good. Ooh! And we're inside. Okay. Flip-em-zee, flop-em-zee. And it looks like I need to take that metal plate off to detach the screen. And now to get that screen disconnected, take this plate off. I unscrewed it already. And you probably don't have a modem, but if you do, you can pop that one out. And that'll give you access to a couple little cables, probably for the battery light and then for the screen. Now that those are out, this should come off cleanly. Woo! Put that aside. And let's see what we need to do. We got a screw there, a screw there, a screw there, a screw there, screw there for the keyboard, and one more back there. Let me get these undone, and I'll bring you right back. So the keyboard will come out with a single screw. This screw is a little bit different than the other ones that hold the shielding on. It's a little bit longer, so make sure that you note that. And it's just held in like so. And these ribbon cables can pop out. There's the keyboard. Put that aside. A screw there, there. One on the back, and there's one over here. So let's get these undone. This one here is going into plastic. It's a plastic screw. These ones that are holding the metal parts inside, they're gold colored, which will help with identification. I think that's it. Let's see. Woo! Okay, shielding is off. And now, here's the RTC battery, the real-time clock battery, and the fuses. I believe those are them right there. That will replace. So next thing I gotta do is take this motherboard out, and maybe I'll do that off camera. It's not that interesting. All right, the motherboard's out, and here are the fuses. And notice I've already jumpered a couple new fuses on it. You can actually do that without removing the motherboard. You just solder some new ones on there. I've already blown these ones again. It's really easy to accidentally short things out on this. I dropped a screwdriver and boom, a little spark, and now it doesn't work. Well, easy to fix, just gotta replace those fuses. I'm going to properly desolder these and put some new ones in. I'll bring you right back. I got a couple new fuses in here, and I've desoldered the battery. The battery is, well, it's one of these fairly girthy fellas, and it's quite a bit wider than these CR2032 holders. They won't fit in directly. However, it is possible to bend the leads, and then it fits in fairly nicely, and, well, let me get that soldered up. Got the motherboard reinstalled, ready to accept a new battery, CR2032. That'll keep the real-time clock running true. Next thing I like to do is remove this floppy drive and replace it with this HXC floppy emulator, and have it in such a way that the SD card, the slot here is available with this door for ordinarily for the old 3.5-inch floppies. Now, the connector for this floppy emulator, it will not match up with the flat cable that's used by the machine. However, from flexidrive, they do make a flat cable adapter, which will make this job fairly easy. Anyways, let me take this apart and I'll bring you right back. Here's what remains of the belt that would have otherwise went from the motor to the platen there. Ages. Rots over time. So I thought about machining some sort of a bracket that would hold this just perfectly in position, but that's work, and it occurred to me that I could just use some foam. Some high density foam here, stick it in, and that gets it roughly to level, and I can sandwich it in with another piece of foam on top. And then this cover, I'll nicely compress it, and it might require a little bit of shimming and then fine adjusting, but it should work. I'll bring you back once I get it all worked out. I got lucky on the first try, no shimming necessary. So the SD slot is accessible. The floppy image select button is accessible. Awesome. Let's put it back together and test it out. And one more hinge cover, and she's whole again. Let's plug in the power. Turn it on, cross our fingers. Whew! It's booting up. It's booting up off of the hard drive. It's pretty quick. Old 20 megabyte hard drive is going to boot into this, or load this deskmate system, Tandy computer deskmate system. It's a cute little system. Let's get out of here and get to the command prompt, and it puts us in the deskmate folder. Go back to root. Don't have a whole lot on this hard disk at the moment. Let us try out the floppy emulator. And this card, I have, I think, a couple floppy images on here, and it has a little beeper in there, and it beeps, and it's really cute. It even emulates floppy sounds. I'm not sure it's going to pick up on the microphone, but let's change to the A drive. It makes these little ticking sounds. DIR. Let's see what's on there. And I got a handful of old files. Oh, I got a urgent.txt. What the hell is that? Something from the 90s. Urgent.txt. Holy moly. Wow, I can finally access all my vintage files. Ain't that awesome? This here is a image that just has some random files in it. You can change images by pressing the button on the side. This will change it to the next one. And I don't know what's on here. There's a couple of files. You can change it to the next one. And I don't think there's anything on here, so it's just going to give me a README text for, I don't know, that floppy emulator. You can press the button and you hold it down, and it returns you to the first image. You hear the little beep. It's now back at the first image. And the first image is actually a boot up volume, a bootable volume. You can actually boot off of the floppy emulator. Ain't that awesome? Let's try it again. Now, it's going to take a little longer because it's actually emulating a floppy drive, so it's not very quick. But it'll actually boot off that floppy drive. That is, or fake floppy, or a floppy image. That's really handy because now you can upgrade, change over the hard disk. You can do all sorts of stuff. Wow. Yeah, screw that. Although it's keeping the time okay. That new battery I put in, look at that. It's booted up off the floppy. Oh, wow. Awesome. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Hope you found it fun. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.